In this video we are going to look at how to calculate the theoretical yield. The theoretical yield is the maximum mass of the product that can be formed from the reactant. It is calculated from the balanced equation, and in practice you often get less than this, so you often get less than the theoretical yield. The amount of product obtained in practice is called the actual yield. Now let us look at an example. Hydrogen peroxide H2O2 decomposes into oxygen gas O2 and water H2O. Calculate the theoretical yield of water from 68 grams of hydrogen peroxide. Now to solve this question, to calculate the theoretical yield, you will need the balanced equation, and the balanced equation is 2H2O2 for hydrogen peroxide reacts to 2H2O for water plus O2 for oxygen gas. Now there are three steps that we need to follow to calculate the theoretical yield of water. Step 1. Calculate the relative formula masses MR. In this question, we want to calculate the theoretical yield of water, and we have the reactant, which is hydrogen peroxide, so these are the only two substances we actually need to look at, so we only need to calculate the relative formula masses for those two. We are going to start with hydrogen peroxide. To calculate the relative formula mass, we have to add together the relative atomic masses of all the atoms involved in the formula. So for hydrogen peroxide we get 2 times the relative atomic mass of hydrogen plus 2 times the relative atomic mass of oxygen. The relative atomic masses are displayed in the periodic table, so we can just look them up, and we get 2 times 1 for hydrogen plus 2 times 16 for the oxygen, and this gives us 2 plus 32, which gives us a relative formula mass for hydrogen peroxide of 34. Now we have to do the same for the water, and for the water we have 2 times the relative atomic mass of hydrogen plus the relative atomic mass of oxygen, so we get 2 times 1 plus 16, and this gives us a relative formula mass of water of 18. So now we know the relative formula masses, and we can move on to step 2, which is multiply the relative formula mass MR by the balancing number in the equation. So the balancing number in front of hydrogen peroxide is 2, so we get 2 times 34, which gives us 68, and the balancing number in front of the water is 2 also, so we get 2 times 18, which is 36. Now we can move on to step 3. Step 3 is just add the unit symbol G for gram to the last numbers we calculated. So we get 68 grams of hydrogen peroxide and 36 grams of water, and the 36 grams of water, that is the theoretical yield of water, so this is the answer to our question. So the theoretical yield of water is 36 grams if 68 grams of hydrogen peroxide decompose.